International report tonight. U.S. military officials remain on high alert after shooting down 3 more unidentified aerial objects over the weekend.
Officials say the objects likely traveled over sensitive military sites, but they don't have evidence they were equipped for spying or belong to China. Big question, Billy. Are these aliens, though? A lot of people were wondering that, right? And so the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, addressed that today at the podium.
There is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns. Again, there is no indication of aliens or terrestrial activity with these recent takedowns.
No indication. She didn't say no. The 3 objects shot down this weekend over Alaska, Canada, and Lake Huron were reportedly smaller and flying at a lower altitude than the Chinese balloon, which was shot down February 4th. That lower altitude posing a risk to civilian air travel. All this as China's foreign ministry now accuses the U.S. of sending high-altitude balloons into Chinese airspace 10 times in the last year, something the administration denies.
For more on this, we are joined by retired Marine Intelligence Officer Lieutenant Colonel Hal Kempfer. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Marla.
Okay, let's just get to bouncing off of what we heard from the White House and their strong stance that this is not related to extraterrestrials. So if it's not aliens, what could it be?
Well, it could be from China, it could be from Russia, it could be from North Korea. These could also be, at least one of them, might just be a weather balloon. There was some discussion today that one of them, the characteristics of it, the package of whatever equipment they had on board was consistent with a weather balloon. We don't know. They are airships. The commander of U.S. Northern Command kind of opened the door a little bit when he was asked, could these be extraterrestrial? And he says, I'm not ruling out anything. And that kind of got people speculating. And then, of course, they were referring to them as flying objects, and they are by definition unidentified. So that kind of caused a whole ripple in terms of the rhetoric surrounding these objects.
Lieutenant Colonel, what is your instinct? Would you have said the same thing, first of all?
Billy, all I can tell you is that they're airships of some sort. If you look at the characteristics, they have lighter than air capability. They loiter for a very long period of time. These last 3, though, they don't seem to be maneuverable. That Chinese surveillance balloon was very maneuverable. These 3 seem to just kind of flow with the wind, although they were flying in airspace where commercial airliners fly. That's a hazard to navigation. Potentially could cause an aviation mishap. So they took the prudent move and they basically downed them. But we'll find out more. The one over northern Alaska, we're probably going to recover the debris if we haven't already. And that will answer a lot of questions.
It seems like we weren't hearing about this, then all of a sudden we're hearing about this all over the place. Has it changed the way that we're monitoring these, or are there just more of them? What's going on with that?
Alex, you're absolutely right. They actually changed the parameters. Sometime around spring, summer of 2021, we weren't looking for these high-altitude balloons. But then we realized the Chinese were sending these over, so they adjusted the parameters, if you will, so we could pick up on them. Obviously, since picking up on this last high-altitude balloon by China, we probably adjusted more. So part of this is, are there more? Maybe. Are they testing? Is someone testing our air defense system? Possibly. But more likely is we're just seeing more. And because we're seeing more, we're just not taking any chances. And we're acting in ways that we probably wouldn't have acted if we saw it, say, 6 months ago.
Several reports, are that we have them, too. Is this just a little secret that's now gotten out that everybody has these balloons? I mean, and do other countries have them as well? How many are out there? They're the length of 3 buses.
Billy, it's shocking, but we all spy on each other, okay? Yeah. And I'm a retired intelligence officer. We all spy on each other. However, the report that what China said today about us sending 10 balloons, the White House and the Pentagon have completely refuted that story. Yes, a number of countries around the world and private corporations have high-altitude balloons, blimps, all sorts of things. They're used for observation and surveillance. What the Chinese are doing is very different. They're trying to dominate what's called near space, that area about 60,000 to 330,000 feet above the Earth. They're trying to use that for surveillance purposes. So what they're doing is different. I'm not saying that we haven't used this. We just haven't used it in violating other countries' airspaces.
One word, how would you describe our relationship with China?
Really tough right now.
Really tough. Okay.
Difficult.
And we got to work on your one word.
I got to work on my one word, yeah.
All right.
We'll give you a pass.
Yeah.
Retired Marine Intelligence Officer Hal Kempfert, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Great to see you, Hal.
All right, great to see you, Alex, Marla, Billy.